Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Today we have with us Tommy Walker. Tommy is the mind engineer. He's passionate about inspiring and helping heal, empower others to become their greatest potential. Welcome to the show, Tommy. It's so nice to have you with us today.
Thank you, Jill, very much. I appreciate you having me here.
So let me ask you, what's your story? Where did you get started? And then we're going to talk about this rapid subconscious reprogramming, because that just sounds so fascinating to me.
Thank you. So it all started many years ago when I was in school. I was the bullied kid at school. I felt very much the black sheep in my family. My parents did the best they could. They weren't mean parents, but when you feel different, I didn't fit in at school. I didn't fit in at home. So I really had a hard time growing up. And around 16 years old, more or less, a friend of mine at school recommended me to read the book, The Celestine Prophecy. I always felt like there was something more than just this life that we're living, like this three life. And I went into that, a bit of spirituality, and I really felt good. But I had all my friends, my family, everybody kind of bothering me that I was kind of crazy because I was talking about energy, I was talking about emotions, I was talking about many things. We were talking back in 1994, more or less 1995. So imagine back then it wasn't well known as today. Today we talk about energy, love, spirituality, whatever. There's much more acceptance. So back then it was very hard for me. I went through very dark places back then. I wanted even to think about committing suicide because I was feeling out of this world, that I didn't fit in. Thank God I didn't do it. I had a failed marriage. Many things going down sideways along the way. And in 2009, I met a spiritual teacher, mentor, coach that really helped me start making more sense of what was going on. What was I going into these negative spirals and many things, that were going in the mind that I couldn't make sense at all. The negative behaviors. I was like, I shouldn't have this. I went into personal development back then too. And, affirmations, positivity, gratitude, all this, putting down your throat to try to feel good. It wasn't working, Jill. It was seriously a nightmare. I felt like, that confirmed even more that there's something wrong with me because I was trying what everybody out there, everybody is teaching. Nothing seems to work. It's like, I'm so screwed up that nothing works for me. So I was in a very dark spot. Luckily, a friend of mine that at school would laugh at me about all this jibbo jumbo about spirituality and energy and things like that. He found a mentor that he said, Tommy, this woman talks about the same things you spoke back then in school when I was 16, 17 years old. And now I'm 30. My life was over, kind of. My first marriage was over. I went back living with my parents. My business was going nowhere. I was making no money, but I didn't want to work for anyone. So Jill, it was crazy. So I said, okay, I'm going to go all in here because I don't feel there's another way. So she really started helping me understand the mind. And that helped me start making changes. And this is a little bit what I want to share today here.
Well, why don't you go ahead and share how she helped you change your mind? Because I know from personal experience, affirmations do actually work, but there's more to it than we were taught all those years ago. It's like you're getting like one piece of the puzzle. They say, just do this. Well, it's not just do this. It's just do this and this.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. I use affirmations. So I want to I want to build on that, and I love this. I throw that out there because you grab people's attention. When you say like affirmations, oh, this doesn't work, people are like, what are you talking about, right? To some people it worked, but yes, it is one small piece of the puzzle, and there's much more pieces you got to put together so that the affirmations help the change. But affirmations won't bring a change, and let's talk a little bit about that. There's a dissonance in the mind. If I don't feel good enough and I try to pour, I'm good enough, I'm good enough, I'm good enough, the mind has proof that I'm not good enough. Why? Because when we're kids from 0 to 7 years old, our belief system is empty. From 0 to 7, we have nothing, quote unquote, in our mind. Everything starts being created, and we run out from emotions. So when I see my dad screaming at me because I'm not behaving, right, and he didn't know another way how to deal with that situation, my emotions are negative at that time. When my dad is screaming, I get scared. Fear, the mind needs to put some logic behind it. And the logic at that age, it cannot be, oh, my dad has issues, that's why he's screaming at me. I'm just being a boy, and my dad doesn't know how to handle this. My mind goes into, I'm wrong, there's something wrong with me, I'm not good enough, I'm not valued, I'm not adequate. So according to those circumstances that I went through, my mind starts creating the belief system. From 0 to 7, then it continues, but the main thing from 0 to 7. So I have proof that I'm not good enough. It's a partial truth, right? I call it a partial truth because according to what I experienced with my dad, it made me feel not good enough, inadequate, not valued, not worthy, whatever. So if I try to tell myself I'm worthy, the mind is going to say, wait, Tommy, 1 second, let me look for the file. Brings out the file and start going through the file and say, hey, here you felt not good enough. Look at your dad, how he's, screaming at you. Or look at this boy is, bullying you. You're not good enough. So in a way, what the mind is doing is checking for old memories where, in a way, that was confirmed. So there's a dissonance, there's a disconnect between me saying affirmation, I'm good enough, and a part of me that still believes that truly I'm not good enough. It's still a partial truth. It's not the truth. Go ahead.
The reality that you created. We create a reality when we're 0 to 7. And that reality stays with us until we change it.
Exactly.
We can change it. That's the good news. And that is where the affirmations can help, but they aren't the actual thing. So I think you're going to go more on that.
Exactly. That's the idea. So it's important to understand that the same thing, if I feel bad and I try to bring gratitude in to try to feel good, it's like if my kid comes into this room and says, Dad, I'm sad. Oh, don't feel sad. Count your blessings. You can say, what's wrong with him? He's not listening. He's not understanding. He's not supporting me. I feel sad. I don't want to listen, count your blessings. I don't want to listen gratitude. Let me try to understand why I feel sad. And this is unfortunate because, again, all those techniques are amazing, gratitude, affirmations, but there is, in a way, a moment where they have to come in, because if not, what we're doing is we're causing more pain as we're trying to convince ourselves to think different from a part of us that created this partial reality that we're not good enough. So yes, that's exactly. So I had tried affirmations, I had tried gratitude, I had tried visualization, so many things without really going into my past to understand why I had those things in the first place. So as I started going back into the past, and as we were talking before starting here, one of the big things that I teach that is very different to what the mainstreams are teaching is love and acceptance. And I'm not talking about love and accepting mediocrity, because I'm not saying that. People don't take that out of context just in case. What I'm saying is loving and accepting where you are. If you have a behavior that is self-sabotaging, if you have a behavior that is procrastination, if you have a behavior that is the imposter syndrome that's getting you stuck, instead of hating yourself, instead of a big name out there is teaching pleasure or pain to take action, I don't believe in that. Sorry. It's love. Love and accept that there's a part of you that is protecting you. Procrastination is a protective mechanism. If I don't feel good enough inside of me because of my past experiences, the mind is going to say, wait, Tommy, don't do this, because if you do it wrong, you're going to confirm that you're not good enough. And that's why the mind procrastinates, not as an enemy trying to screw your life. The mind is never going to try to screw your life. The mind is trying to protect you. The problem is that the actions it has or inactions have other consequences. But look at this, Jill, that I always share is, I might be scared, right, of, let's put it this way, a person that is eating a lot and it's not stopping. People might say, but Tommy, if they keep eating like that, they're going to have a stroke, they're going to have a heart attack, that they might die. Yes, but we need to understand this. Look at this, and I figured this out as I studied the mind so much, is that the fear of not feeling loved is greater than the fear of dying. The fear of not feeling loved, and they're covering up with the food, smoking, drugs, alcohol, whatever it is worse than the fear of dying. So yeah, they could, like some people try, scare the shit out of them to try to get them to stop smoking, drinking, whatever. But for most people, it doesn't work. And we've seen that. Studies are proving today that it's not working. Right, Jill?
Yeah, fear never works. It may push you into a corner where you're going to feel worse about it yourself but then you've been given a bunch of information that's also helping you shape a reality that may or may not be true. I don't believe reality is actually true or not true. It just is. You form your thoughts, and your thoughts form your reality, and you can change your thoughts and you can change your reality. Exactly. And you can accept any situation a number of ways. You don't, just because it happened and you experienced it doesn't mean that that's reality. You can change how you perceive that experience.
Exactly. So, as I was saying, pain and pleasure, the fears is going on. So most of people are running out of fears, right? They run their life through fear of doing and fear of not doing. When I have a deadline, the fear of not doing is going to get higher. Why? Because I have a deadline. But before the deadline, if I have a month, 6 months, whatever, the fear of doing is higher. Why? Because if I do and I make a mistake, I'm going to confirm that I'm not good enough. If I study for the test and then I do wrong, I'm going to feel even worse. So the mind is keeping you stuck as a protective mechanism. So what I tell people is love the aspect of you that is procrastinating. Love the aspect of you that is drinking alcohol, that is smoking, that is eating, whatever. Because that part of you started that behavior out of two main reasons. One, seeking for love. Sorry about the balloons. I don't know what that happens. Seeking for love. Or the second one is numbing the pain out of the lack of love. Those are the two main human drivers. Two main human drivers. So if I'm seeking for love, might fall into people pleasing. People pleasing might get me some love. Eating might cover the pain out of the lack of love. So if I want to take the eating from somebody and I'm not working on the self-love, it's nearly impossible to take it away. And if a person is eating to numb the pain, and now that person is beating themselves up, or their family is beating themselves up because they're eating, that's going to push them to eat more because they're using food to numb the pain out of the lack of love. So there has to be a change in paradigm where we see, people that drink with drinking problems, like, oh, they're the bad person. The drug addict is the bad person, is the mean person. The killer is the mean person. No, I'm not saying it's okay that they're killing. Don't get me wrong. But what they need is love. So we need to practice the love and acceptance of the aspect of you behind the behavior. That is the first step. If we don't love and accept the aspect of you behind the behavior, there's no way you're going to change that behavior. It's going to be a million times harder to change a behavior. You can only change it by using these old school techniques of scaring the shit of yourself so that you'll go and change. But it's not actual change, it's out of fear. So it's not true love. So we got to start working. And this is, again, love and acceptance. I would love, and I tell this, Jill, to my people I work with, right? I would love to stop in a stoplight and look around and see people in their car just going like this in the stoplight, right? In the train, in a bus, in an airplane, just going like this for a little while, hugging themselves, loving the part of them that might not be aligned with what they want most. But if we don't do that, then it's very difficult to change. And I tell this, Jill, to close this topic that we're talking right now, if I go talk to my partner because she did something that bothered me and I go screaming at her and pointing fingers and judging her and criticizing, there are more chances that she's going to close up. She's going to become defensive or attack or defense and not talk to me. But that didn't solve the problem. But if I sit down with her through love and I explain to her what's going on, that I would like to see if we can figure out what's going on, how we can change this, there are more chances that she might be open to question what's going on. And, she feels loved, she feels safe in the environment. So if we do that to others, why should we listen to authority figures out there that are telling us that you need to beat yourself up, to just go do it, push yourself, kick yourself in the butt, just go do it? It's like, no, I wouldn't do that
72
to my loved
hard.
ones. Exactly. So there's a lot we need to start questioning how we treat ourselves, because most people have found ways to treat others in a much more loving way, and that's what we've done with society. That's great, don't get me wrong. Before, we would run around with a piece of stick and hit each other, right? Then came the firearms, and we started killing each other, right? And now we're in a different era where there's much more, patient, things like that in many areas. Okay, we're learning how to treat others much better. Great, we've evolved. But how about taking that to ourselves? That's what is going to allow a change in our mind, as you're saying, changing the beliefs. But those beliefs are really ingrained. And ingrained doesn't mean that just by telling me that they're wrong, they're going to change. I need to first love and accept what is, to then move to the next step.
And it always starts with you. The only things you can change in the world are yourself. And it starts with loving yourself. And we've learned for so long that that's selfish, and you should think of other people first, and you should always come last, and it doesn't matter what you think, you just need to do it. And I don't think that's true. And I think that it really is a disservice to people. I was listening to someone over the weekend, and she said, sometimes when you do things that seem like they're really great things, you need to think about what your motivation behind it is. Because if your motivation is just, you feel like you're doing it begrudgingly, like you have to do this because somebody told you had to do it, and you don't feel really good about doing it, then that's the energy that you're calling back to yourself. Even though what you did was really great, you're still not going to get the positive energy from that because of the energy you were in when you were doing it.
The intention behind it, right?
Yeah. It's the energy in the creation process.
Exactly. I love that. Some time ago, I was listening to a psychologist talking with, I think it was Tom Bidu, another, of these guys out there. And she was saying that they had done a study. Hey, buddy, they had done a study that, they gave $20 to 20 people, one group, $20 to another group of people, 20 people. And to group A, they told them they had to spend the money on them. Group B, they could only spend those $20 for somebody else. And the conclusion they had drawn out of that study was that the people in group B that they gave that $20 to others felt better. So it's more important to give to others. So I would say that, wait. Why don't you ask yourself why the group in A didn't feel good about giving to themselves? Because this is the bigger answer to find around this situation. The problem is, as you were saying before, we were taught that it's bad to give to ourselves, that it's selfish to give to ourselves. So when we give ourselves, it's wrong. So people cannot give themselves $20 and spend them on them and feel good. And a lot of people do, don't get me wrong. But in this study, for me, it is much more important to analyze why they felt bad, because they have a bad self-image, they have a low self-esteem, they have low confidence, and that is what made them feel bad. Not because you got to get out there and serve. Now we are in this year of coaching and all of this, right? Serving others, and our people are pouring into them. And I love what you just said. I had a question to this, Jill, not for you, right? But for anybody listening. And when you're doing something for your wife, for your kids, for your boss, or for anybody else, what if you do that and you don't get even a thank you, not a smile or anything in exchange? Can you still be 100%, 100, not 90, not 80, not 99, 100% still okay, even if the other person doesn't even say thank you? And most people, because we're still humans, don't get me wrong, will bother them if there's not a reaction from somebody else. If I buy a gift and I give it to you, Jill, and you don't even say thank you, I'm going to feel bad. Why? Because I haven't resolved issues. So the truth is, we need to understand that most of the times when we're doing things, there is a hidden agenda. because we're still humans. I believe we're spiritual beings living a human experience. From spirit, we don't need anybody else. We can interact, we can share love, but we don't need them. But we need to understand that within this spirit, there is body also, body, mind, emotions. So we're still humans. So from the human side, many times we're doing stuff to get something in exchange. And most people are not going to want to accept that because it means like, oh, I'm bad. No, just shows that you're human and that you're looking something in exchange. And that helps understand when we're doing it from spirit, truly 100% spirit, and it's not easy to discern, or when we're doing it from human side. And normally the truth is, just in case you have one more thing, is we always come from spirit. First spirit, then human. So there is the spirit wants to serve others, don't get me wrong. But I hear a lot of people that want to serve others, but when they cannot really help somebody, transform somebody or whatever, they cannot do it. They feel like crap about themselves. That is hidden agenda. Because you know what? We are facilitators. We are tools. That's why if you look at my website, it says I help people transform their life. I don't say I transform people's lives. That's BS. I don't transform anybody's life.
No one can. You can only be in charge of your own life. I do believe we're all connected. And that's the spiritual side. We're all pieces of the one, the universe, the consciousness, the energy. But as we experience our lives individually, we tend to forget, get trained out of us, lose contact with that connectedness. And I think that's why we seek approbation from others when we're doing something for them, because we want that connection. We want to say, okay, I did this because I wanted to connect with you on a spiritual level. The God in me speaks to the God in you. Not that I am God, but I am God, because God is in me and he's in you. He's in everything. And when we don't get that, sometimes it's really hard to just recognize that there's something stopping on that side, or it could be something stopping on your side. That interesting.
I love that. I love what you just said. Exactly. So we always come from spirit, but then it gets tainted from human side, from our own resolve issues. So again, I want to help people because that's my spirit. Don't get me wrong. But it doesn't mean that I still could come from human side trying to get that, acceptance, love, recognition, or whatever. And that's why I see a lot of people that I work with several coaches, right? That they feel like crap when they cannot help somebody else. That shows that they're coming from human side more than spirit, because if they came from spirit, they would love and accept whatever it is. And they would understand that they cannot transform other people's lives, that people have to transform their own lives. So it's thinking that I can create this. No, you cannot create that. You can be part of it, as you were saying, Jill. I love that. You can be part of that because we're all one and we're part of the process, but it doesn't mean that I'm creating that transformation within you. You are creating it. It has nothing to do with me. It's like the hammer being happy because it nailed, something against the wall. No, the hammer is an instrument. The human using it would be, this is the same thing. I'm the hammer and the person is using me in a way. Yeah. So when we understand that, it helps much more when we cannot help people. And when this came up with me, Jill, I used to be in emergency care for many, many years, this saving lives. And I started seeing for me, and then a lot of people around me that were affected when we couldn't save a life. And I started questioning that and understanding, like, wait, what is wrong here that so many people, nurses, doctors, paramedics, are getting so bummed out and so bad, right? Even depression, suicidal around this. What's going on? And I started realizing the same thing with that, saving lives. We have been sold that concept that we're here to save lives. No. And in emergency care, police, or whatever, it's like, oh, we're here to make a difference. No, we're here to try to make it different, but that doesn't mean that it's up to us. We got to be very careful with it. The same thing with coaching or whatever area we are in life. We got to be very careful because the ego gets in the way, and that is going to have a big toll in our mind, stress, anxiety, depression, PTSD, and even suicide. And I've seen that, unfortunately, a lot, because I was in emergency care where life or death is all the time there, and people really getting very frustrated and very bad when they couldn't save a life.
It's not, yeah, the whole life death thing. I'm intimately aware of it right now. I had a grandson born today, and my father-in-law's coming home on hospice. I talk about, I don't really think that he's like on death's doorstep. The doctor does. The doctor's looking at his heart. He's got congestive heart failure. But I know the man has had congestive heart failure for 12 years, and they've told him he's going to die like tomorrow for 12 years.
Wow.
He has always believed he was going to live to be 100, and he's got 14 more years to go. He
Wow.
may be living on hospice for quite a while still. He's an interesting human being. And if he doesn't, he's had a great life and he was loved.
There you go.
So
Nice.
just, you're not in charge. We're all dying.
But sometimes it's difficult to recognize that, because you know what, Jill, what I've seen in these years of experience studying the mind and everything is that we all, because we feel that disconnect from spirit, right? As we feel that disconnect with spirit and the environment we were in as kids, and we start believing we're inadequate, we're not good enough, we are bad, we are all these negative things that created our apparent, reality, right? Our belief system and our self-image. If I'm able to save a life, if I'm able to be in charge, if I'm able to do these things, that is going to deny what I feel inside. So I want to be able to be in control, be in power, be able to save others, because that's going to deny, in a way, override the feelings that I'm inadequate, and I'm not worthy, that I'm not good enough. That's how it works. The mind, again, as I said at the beginning, is trying to protect us. So it's going to create behaviors to try to keep us safe. So if we look at those behaviors with love and acceptance, it's going to make it much easier to be able to understand why they're there. What am I lacking that created that behavior in the first place? Give me what I need. And then that behavior is going to start fading away. It might not go away overnight, but as I start loving and accepting myself, or giving myself what I need, it's going to make it much easier to then be able to let go of that belief.
Yeah, it will for sure. Let me ask you, what is your rapid subconscious programming all about? Because I really am interested in hearing.
So rapid subconscious reprogramming is the result that I've studied coaching for many years, therapy for many years, neuroscience, self-awareness. I've studied inner child healing. I've studied many, many modalities. And as I was starting coaching, I felt that something was missing, right? It's like, I feel something is missing. I started therapy, like something is missing. I started seeing, like, I felt like there was things missing. And then, so I started creating my own way, in a way, right? And I started feeling like, okay, but I cannot call this inner child healing, because although it contains some of it, it's not. I cannot call this coaching, although there's many questions and all that, because it's not. And I couldn't really put it in anywhere. When people ask me, like, what do you do? So I was like, I gotta create my own way. And it's based on many of these things out there, many scientifically proven techniques that have helped me first, of course, and I have helped thousands of people on the way. I've been doing this for 14 years. So I decided to grab the best of each and put it together, right? To do it more as a holistic thing when I'm talking with people. So we go into the past, we talk about today, we talk about the future. There's many things going on, but one of the things that mostly we practice over and over again, and talking about spirit and human side, is whenever you're feeling sad, is practice love and acceptance of that part of you that is feeling sad. When you practice love and acceptance is closer to the spirit. So instead of saying with the ego and try to convince yourself to feel bad, different, affirmation, whatever, control is love and acceptance of what is. As we tap into spirit, we become more our true self. We become one. So we're an observer of the pain. And we love and accept what's going on. We try to understand what's going on. So it has neuroscience, understanding how the mind works. It has going into the past and interact with past memories to change the reality that we created back then, or the perception we created back then. There's so many combinations of things that I created this that I call rapid subconscious reprogramming. So the mind is made up of all our past memories, and those past memories, with a limited and immature, kid, created limiting negative false beliefs, or what I call now partial truths. So I'm not good enough because my dad hit me. That is a partial truth. My dad hit me, yes. Out of that, I made up in my mind that I'm not good enough. So it is a partial truth. I cannot say it's wrong because it's what I made up. But the thing is, that little kid didn't have the entire context. The entire context could be, hey, buddy, your dad is hitting you because he doesn't know better. And his dad, beat him up. And now he only knows violence to try to keep you aligned with what he thinks is best for you. So he doesn't know better. Then me owning how I'm treating myself, because another thing, apart from addressing what another person did to you as a kid, is also understanding what you're doing. I love inner child healing is finding the little kid and then saying, hey, Tommy, I love you. You're amazing. You're the best thing that happened to me. But yesterday I was saying that I'm a douchebag. Yesterday I was saying that I'm a loser. So there's a disconnect in many of the inner child healing therapies out there, that you become the good guy when yesterday you were the bad guy. So it's like, for the mind, it's a little bit confusing because there's no sorry, there's nothing addressing that, hey, I'm treating you like crap, Tommy, nowadays. I'm sorry. So there's many combinations of things that I put together to develop this technique that I've been doing now for many years.
Interesting. Do you do it all one-on-one, or do you do it in group coaching settings?
Yeah, I love that question. I have that a lot. So I offer a program where I have both things. I don't normally do only group settings because the truth is sometimes it's difficult for people to open up. They need to feel loved, acceptance, and safe to open up to their worst fears, things that they're not even aware consciously. So to be able to really access a subconscious mind, the person needs to feel true love, acceptance, and safe. And a lot of people have gone through many difficult things that they, although they don't recognize it, they might say, oh, I don't care, it's okay with me. Truly deep down, they're not willing to open up in a group setting. So I have people opening up in group setting with more kind of surface level things, and I give them examples of things to go deeper and take it with them to practice, answer questions, different things. But mostly I work also one-on-one because I believe that that's when they can feel safe, loved, accepted, to really open up. And I have had people really bring things that they never told anybody in the past. They deal with things that they were very scared of dealing with. And that's the idea. I have practiced a lot of self-love and able to create an environment so that people could feel really safe to bring out even their worst beliefs in there. Like, I work with people that have abused others as kids. I have worked with alcoholics, with drug addicts. I have worked with a lot of people in different areas, and they feel so safe to just open up and tell me. And it's not just saying, because talk therapy is just about telling the things that are going on, but it's then connecting and understanding, okay, why did I start smoking? Why did I start drinking? What was I trying to numb from here? And we go really deep to connect the dots. It's like they tell people, they give me pieces of a puzzle that I'm not seeing the box where you can see the picture of the puzzle. And I start trying to put them together and help them also put them together to make sense. Because if you understand that you're eating because you're numbing the pain inside because you feel so lonely inside, now you don't judge yourself so much because you're eating. You're starting to practice some love and acceptance. And that level of acceptance, as you practice more, I've seen people being able to start losing weight, stop eating so much food, and take care more of themselves because they develop the self-love. Makes sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. And I've seen it for myself. I've gone through a lot of those experiences also. So, what is the best way for people to reach out to you?
If they want to look me up on the internet, they can just put Tommy Walker, MY, Tommy Walker, the Mind Engineer. For now, I'm the Mind Engineer, Tommy Walker, out there. So they're going to they can find themindengineer.com, the website. I have lots of free resources. I have a book. I have many things that people can start looking into where I share. I love what I do. I want to really help as many people as I can. So I'm doing a lot of free stuff. I go online, I go live twice a week where I share insight and tools for people, and I have lots of material for people that maybe they can afford, they are in a bad situation right now, they can consume a lot of my free stuff. People that like reading, I have a book, I also have a course, and if people are willing to commit more and they're able to invest, I have a program that we can work one-on-one, and I can help them start teaching them how the mind work. And lately what I did is I launched my own coaching program, because again, I had some people asking like, Tommy, what can I study to kind of do what you do? And I started thinking, okay, coaching, not really, coaching by itself, right? This, and that. I said, wait, what if I put my own coaching program? So now I'm doing a certified coaching program where I teach people RSR so that they can, we can help more people around the world with this.
That's amazing. That's really great.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What's the one thing you want to leave the audience with today? What do you want them to take away from our conversation?
So the most important thing that I tell everybody is the love and acceptance of what is. If you're drinking, love and accept the part of you that is using that to protect you from something. You might not understand why. Love and acceptance. If you are falling into perfectionism, if you're falling into procrastination, if you're falling into loss of focus, loss of clarity, stress, anxiety, whatever, pain in the body, love and acceptance. There's a part of you that is trying to communicate you. What I tell Jill people is that the light in the dashboard that turns on when the motor needs to be checked, stress, anxiety, fear, loss of focus, loss of clarity, whatever is the light in the dashboard that is telling you that you need to go deeper to understand what's going on inside. So that will be my best advice for everybody. Love and acceptance of what is, even though if you don't understand, and slowly practice letting the mind reveal to you what's really going on underneath. Try to change yourself to feel better. It's just a war you're going to start, and it's never going to end.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you so much for joining me today, Tommy. This has been awesome.
Thank you, Jill, for the time, and I hope everybody enjoyed this.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the You World Order, or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.